I call this a two-step dumbbell row. I came up with this. There's probably other people out there that did it. I mean, you gotta think with these exercises, it's like, it's really hard to take credit for who made up what. It's like, think way back in like dinosaur times. It's not like one dude invented bread and then showed the whole rest of the world how to make bread. Like, I'm sure some other motherfucker on another part of Pangea somewhere invented bread, and bread was invented all over the place at simultaneous times or different times, which is why we have different types of fucking bread. So, you know, I didn't have any help coming up with these, but I'm sure another trainer out there in like South Dakota in some gym somewhere came up with the same exercise, what the fuck ever. So, this is a two-step dumbbell row. I use this to teach people how to properly do a dumbbell row, because one of the main problems I see is people will row and they'll curve and just use most of their bicep, and they won't really get the shoulder back and contract their back to come up. You know, you're supposed to pull it to the hip, bring your shoulder back, drive your elbow through. I say push your chest out because it helps bring your shoulder back and get a full contraction. But people concentrate on bringing the dumbbell up and they'll pull it up like right under their chest where their arms bent less than 90 degrees, using their bicep, and they're hunched over and they're not really getting all their back involved. So I use this to teach them how to do it. And I use a bench to set them up so that they can prop themselves up properly and get used to how it feels, so in the future you can just put your hand on anything stationary and do them correct. So I move this up one notch. I do move this up too because I don't want your knee to slide back. I like that angle so your knee's kind of locked in place. Whatever side you're working, keep that foot out. I like to get the foot back and way out of the way. Put my hand up here and take my hips and slide my hips back to where at least I feel like I'm parallel to the ground. Because I mean, when you pull and your back contracts, your chest is going to come up a little bit, that's fine. But make sure when you go back down, you stretch back out. Now, the two steps to this. A dumbbell hang. This, like I said in the seated hammer row for upper back, same concept. Without, you may bend your arm a little bit, but while keeping your arm as straight as possible. Chest out, shoulder back. Then that second step is driving that elbow like you're driving it through that lower lat. The dumbbell should hit right around your hip somewhere. So when you get set up, you're here, shoulder blades open because you're stretching your back out. Step one, boom, shoulder back. Step two, elbow back. Look where my hand's at. And my elbow's back here. It's not way up here where my arm's folded, where it looks like I'm using my bicep. Now, sometimes people worry too much about bending their arm and they'll just straight swing back like this. No, just pull, bend your arm and pull the dumbbell, but think about like your hand's a hook and you're dragging the dumbbell towards your hip, and that in your mind, your frame of reference is your elbow, and you're taking that elbow and you're driving it back towards the ceiling. Because sometimes if you think about pulling the dumbbell, you do that thing where you fold your arm and use a lot of your bicep. So I just grab the dumbbell, shoulder back, chest out, take the elbow, drive through the lower part of the back like you're trying to drive it through your lower back. And that'll usually, and let your arm hang naturally, and it'll usually bring it here, somewhere around this area. Let me demonstrate with a live dumbbell. As always, lighter weight for demonstrative purposes only. Hand here, foot back out of the way, shift my hips back. I'm trying to stick my butt towards that wall back there. Shoulder blades open, dumbbells hanging. Step one. Even if you bow your back a little bit, that's fine, as long as you arch it when you pull. Step one, shoulder back, dumbbell still hanging, arm straight. Step two, drive elbow back. Open all the way up, 1, 2. Notice on that second step, I'm pushing my chest out and arching my back a little bit, just so I get a full contraction. Also make sure your shoulder's down. If you're under the bench looking up, you should see my shoulder down, boom, boom. Don't want to see like here and then, like people like to hunch and shove their fucking shoulder into their ear. You need to keep your shoulder down. So even though I'm pulling, I don't want to shove my elbow up. I want to keep my shoulder pressed down and then arm back. If you do that, You know you'll do it right because in the second part of the second step, you're gonna feel it in this lower lat area. You're going to have to use lighter weight here because you don't have the momentum of the first pull when you put them both together. You'll pull back and pause and then drive that elbow back to second. All the momentum's taken out. So you're not gonna be able to go as heavy, but I guarantee you will feel it a lot better if you do it like that.